Gabriel, Claire, Henry, and Grace. So these four are the team leaders for the RYPEN 2020, which didn't happen. So I will not say anything more. I'll let them talk you through it. So Gabe and Claire, over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Claire. So thanks so much for taking the time to attend today, and we're really grateful that you've got this interest in what we've done. And so we hope to share tonight with you something that will help you with any of the future projects that you're running, or actually just offer you a little bit of a new perspective on how to conduct things differently during this time. So in our RYPEN team, we have Gabe, Grace, Henry, and myself. And alongside Aini, we oversaw this year's RYPEN program. So of course, the program didn't quite end up happening as we'd planned this year. So we wanted to share with you our approach and how we also adapted the program for RYPEN participants. And so tonight, just to give you a little bit of a rundown, tonight we'll be going through the following areas. So first, we're going to start with the issues that we faced, and then we're going to move on to our process for finding a solution. Then we'll move into what the solution ended up looking like. We called it RYPEN 2.0. And we'll also talk about the positive and negative reception we received, and also talk about some of the challenges that we faced. So hopefully, this will give you some insight into how we adapted a program like RYPEN to be delivered online and how we utilize technology to achieve this. And Gabe will now talk about the backstory and how RYPEN 2.0 all came to be. And also, just unfortunately, Gabe and I had another prior commitment. So we've actually got to go off to another Zoom meeting straight after we finished our part. So apologies for that. And we
Thanks, Claire. Hey everyone, so good to be on this and to share with you what we've got. As most of you know, RYPEN was run at the Coca-Cola Lodge, I think for the first time last year, and was supposed to be run this year there. And the intent behind it, Inez told us that for Rylarians to take the leadership of running RYPEN with some help of Rotarians for now, but eventually for past Rylarians to take the full lead of that. But unfortunately, with COVID-19 starting, the issue was, what are we going to do from then on? So when COVID-19 was being discussed early in March, us four and five Rotarians met to implement some safety plans, and so that we could go ahead with RYPEN and figure out what we could do to have the students there in the camp and make sure we had all the safety and health all sorted. But as things worsened, we got to a point on the 16th of March where after a long day of work, five of us met, us four and Aini. And in the evening, we made the call to cancel. And in the silence and in the processing of all that was happening, Grace proposed a couple of what ifs. I think that her words were, what if we tell the students something that's different to what they've already been hearing? They would have been already getting some cancellations and saying what was being put off because of COVID-19. What if we say something different? And what if we can still offer what RYPEN intended to offer in some way without the camp? So in that evening, we started to discuss what can we do. And during that 2-hour call, we made a brand new folder on Google Drive. It was titled RYPEN 2.0. And we drafted a new to-do list. And we got to work straight away with bite-sized and manageable stepping stones because we didn't know what was coming. And that was an important part of the planning because we had a few things to consider in this new challenge that we've taken to lead. So as a bunch of young, busy Rylarians with our own commitments, we were going into the great unknown, and we didn't want to bite off more than we can chew. So in our jobs, Claire was at the time busy drafting COVID-19 policy plans for her role at AUT. Henry's work hours were increasing twofold at Fisher & Paykel to meet increasing product demand. In Grace was on constant for and for me, I was with looking at the situation, more and more support for the situation. And the challenge challenges the students will have being at home in their bubbles and what the changes with school will be for them. And then we came up with a program which Grace and Henry will show with you and share with you. And yeah, thank you again. And we apologize for needing to leave now. And we hope you get a lot of what is about to be shared. And I know that this experience has taught me so much, and I hope you guys get something from this. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabe and good Claire. See you next week.
Yeah.
Good luck on your next call, team. So yeah, what an absolute team right there. I'm very, very, very grateful to have these guys to go through all of this with. And I think that it's fully, sentiment to those two, and to Henry and Aine, and what we've done in our group together, that we managed to pull something out of such a crazy time. So yeah, very grateful to those guys. Henry and I are going to talk you guys through the way we found a solution to this absolute chaos of COVID. In the sense of RYPEN, and then go into what exactly that solution looked like. We're going to then talk about the reception that we got and some key takeaways that we wanted to share with you all, because as Claire mentioned, the point of this presentation is really so that you guys have something to take away in your own project planning and all of the Rotary work that you guys do as well, and hopefully find some use in the things that we did right, but also the things we maybe could have done better as well. So on that note, finding a solution. Here we go. So I'm just going to quickly take you guys over, connection permitting, to the first, I'll actually just go back here quickly. The first thing that we did to find a solution, which was, as you can see, the 2 points on the left-hand side. From the beginning, we were transparent with the students that we were going into the unknown, and we wanted to have them along with us on this journey. So we weren't going to go and plan a crazy thing with them, just following blindly on behind. Really, they were actually so key in planning something that they could actually, get something out of. So our first step after that meeting that Gabe mentioned was to go away and get Jen, who you can see her face here. She was our speaker. She was our intended speaker for the RYPEN weekend on the Saturday evening. And she was going to talk about her journey to starting a mental health charity and all the things that entailed. And so we thought, okay, the best place to start is to still give these guys that presentation. So we said, Jen, can you please video what you were going to say to the students? And alongside that, we gave them a request, and that was to fill in a questionnaire on what they would like to get out of the program. And that's where things kicked off. So I'll show you a little snippet of that video, and then Henry will unpack what the questionnaire looked like and how we managed to draw on the students' answers to design this new program. So if I just get up, it's just a little snippet. Here we are. Can I get a thumbs up if you can hear this? Cool. I've got a thumbs down. Okay, let's try this again.
Right, Grace, we've got some sound to start with, and then it just disappeared.
That's odd. Okay,
Yeah.
hold on a minute, team. I will try this.
When you go into the share screen, there's a possible check that you can put on to share, make sure that your video audio shares.
Aha, done.
Give that a go. And
thank you. I forgot to tick that cheeky little box. All right. So
Kia ora everyone. Kia ora everyone. My name is you can help you to achieve this. So what us four leaders, myself, Gabe, Claire and Henry, have in common is we all completed a program called RYLA, which is basically the post-high school version of RYPEN. So we've seen what a program like this can offer and how it can help you in your own personal life. And we really want you guys to have this opportunity too. So we hope that we can share with you our leadership skills in the next few weeks through this online module. And we really hope that you'll fill in that questionnaire so that we can really get into the nitty and gritty of how we can best help you. But for now, I will let Jen take it away.
Hello everybody, my name is Genevieve Mora, I'm 25 years old and I was supposed to be your guest speaker this Saturday night at RYPEN, but obviously things aren't going ahead with everything that's happening in the world right now. So I'm really stoked to have the opportunity to speak to you guys on a different platform in a different way, but still hopefully get my message out to you all. So as I said, my name's Genevieve, I go by Jen, G, Giraffe, whatever you want to call me, and I've been involved with Rotary for about 2.5, nearly 3 years now. I was a RYLA Oceania member, I went to RYLA Oceania in January, and also 2 years previous to that I did RYLA program in Auckland, New Zealand, which was incredible, and I'm so stoked that you guys are.
So if you want to watch the rest of that, you'll need to upgrade to the full version. Okay, here we go, back to the presentation. This is where Henry jumps in, so take it away, bro.
Hey guys, thanks for coming along. Good to meet you all. So more or less we released this video to the students in the first weekend of level 4 lockdown, and we also had a questionnaire which we asked a few questions around. So obviously the first one of those was, as you can see on the screen, would you be interested in participating in a range of online activities to help you develop your personal leadership skills? So we had about 60 students planned to go to RYPEN, and out of those 60 we had 20 responses, 19 of which were positive. So this was quite useful for us. It showed that we had a decent level of engagement despite the circumstances and things like that. Interestingly enough, the one response that was negative basically said that they had too many other extracurricular activities to complete. So I think that's quite understandable, and certainly being very busy ourselves, we were sort of very open to that. So we sort of sent a whole heap of questions out and collated the answers that we got back from that. And what we were intending here was to basically have a student-led program. So trying to basically identify how much time the students had to commit, and also what content they would like to sort of hear about and to learn about. So some of the questions were around that, and it was all obviously based on being online. So we had, one of the questions I suppose was ascertaining how much time the students had to put into this program. And you can see from the responses on the graph there that we had about 37% of them saying just a few hours, and then about 26% saying 1 month. So what we decided to do was that in order to try and capture the biggest audience, we would do a few hours over a month. So we came up with a strategy of basically, tried to form a bit of an idea of what that would look like. What we wanted to understand was how the students would receive that content. So we also asked them the questions around that as well. And you can see that there was a high response for videos, mentoring, and interactive activities. So I suppose what we tried to do was incorporate all of these different elements into our program in some way or some form, so that we could sort of cover off as many different learning styles and interests as we could. What we also needed to do was sort of draw on the feedback and comments and the understanding that the students had on what leadership was, and try and build on that base knowledge and help them understand or broaden their understanding of that. Help them become more aware, more self-aware, and aware of others, really. Some of the feedback we had was really quite deep, and we were able to actually look at grouping that into different areas, which sort of formed a bit of a picture around what areas these students were wanting to find out more about leadership in, what exposure they'd had, or maybe some of the misconceptions of what a leader actually is as well. So that helped us sort of group things and find out where we wanted to target the information and things we were sharing.
And
so
that's, yeah.
What we basically did was brought all the knowledge that we've had from the different RYLA programs we've been on and went, well, hey, what are some sort of key points and key takeaways that we've had? So we broke this down into sort of a 6-week module, or 6-week sort of program with modules every week. And you can see on the screen there that the first module was more or less the introduction to leading yourself, which was sort of around Jen and being able to take your own direction and things like that. That also helped us engage with the students initially to find out what we needed to actually work on and develop and commit to. So this was very much a week-by-week process and wasn't something that we had months in advance to plan. The second module we looked at was helping the students to understand what leadership is and the different styles of leadership that we have. So in order to do this, we actually reached out to the wider RYLA group and pastoral Rylarians, both from within New Zealand and across Oceania. And I saw Ben on here earlier. So we actually had Ben McNevin and a couple of other attendees of the inaugural RYLA Oceania contribute, which is fantastic.
Did you want me to show that clip, Henry?
Yeah, I think that would be really cool.
Awesome. I'll just jump that in real quick, team, just so you have an idea of what the 6 weeks looks like. Each week had a, oh, my brother's just brought me in dessert. Sorry. Thanks, bro. So each week had a video and a leadership journal, and this is the video for week 2. So you saw Jen's for week 1. This is week.
Hi guys, welcome to week 2 of your RYPEN 2020 online program. My name is Henry and I'm one of your leaders for this year's program. This week we're covering off 2 topics. Firstly, we'll find out what leadership means to different young leaders. Our second topic is different leadership styles and behaviours associated with each of these styles. We've asked some of our RYPEN team to help us out and share their definitions and leadership styles. After watching this video, we'll also have a few questions for you to answer and submit your responses in the Google questionnaire. Sit back and enjoy.
Hey, what's up, RYPEN 2020? I'm Jason and I went on RYLA a couple of years ago. They're awesome experiences, so make the most of it. 2 leadership tips from me for today. The first one is, as a leader, you set the vision and direction. So make sure wherever you're going or what you want the group to do, make sure the vision is clear in your head and you can actually articulate it to the group so that you're all on the same path and you all know where the group is going, and that will make sure that everyone is driven to make sure that they achieve it. And the second thing is, you work for the people underneath you, not the other way around. A lot of people, when they come into leadership positions, they think they're the boss and it's about telling people what to do. This is totally the wrong attitude, and it needs to be flipped upside down, inside out, to make
Again, by the full version. No, just kidding. If you want to see the rest of it, let me know, and I'm happy to send it through to you, team.
So you can see what 7 weeks of lockdown without a haircut's done as well. So yeah, sort of, I suppose that gives you a bit of a taste of what we were presenting to the students. Along with each video, we also sent a questionnaire, which we're looking for sort of answers to help the students understand and learn as well, and also to help them self-reflect. So a big part of this is self-reflection and understanding their own leadership style and what their definition of leadership was. Module 3 was around building confidence. So this was presented by Gabe, and he's got a really, really, really awesome approach to this. And it was all around your self-awareness and being able to put yourself in awkward situations or difficult situations and things like that as well. Again, some wicked content, and it was really well received by the students. Again, we had another Google form that we were using for the responses. And just to touch on that, we learned a lot about Google Drive during this project as well. So it was it's amazing to see the power of it. And if you guys aren't using it, get onto it. So yeah, then we had module 4, which is around improving your technical skills. So this was again around self-awareness and consistency, giving and receiving feedback as well, which is often a big part of being a leader. So there's some good content around that as well. Module 5 was about empowering your team. So key things here were listening as a leader. So a big part of actually being a leader is actually listening to your team and understanding what's going on around you. It's also then about being able to be heard as a leader. So we gave the students some techniques around active listening and things like that. And then we also talked about different personality types, which actually tied in really well with our RYPEN Oceania program as well, because we'd just done the personality tests and things like that as part of that course as well. So it was, slotted in really nicely. And then our last module, which we're presenting this week, is going to be around our opportunities. So sort of our final steps, how our young leaders can sort of take their leadership journey in their own hands and help grow themselves. So things like finding mentors, the different programs that we've got. So obviously RYPEN, and then feeding into RYLA, and also other leadership programs outside of Rotary as well, which all add value and help them grow as leaders. So and part of that as well was RYE and being able to the youth exchange and traveling overseas, which obviously Grace is able to share her experiences with as well. So it's yeah.
Thanks, Henry. Yeah, so guys, this is a big presentation with a lot of detail about what we did, and I got a bit carried away with PowerPoint, but the main thing that we want to tell you is that, through all of this, the key thing that we did was we took the team along on the journey with us, and it showed, and it was really, really awesome to see how they could get stuff out of it as well. And whilst we could go into all of this detail, I'm conscious of time, but these are just some snippets of each of the modules and the kind of stuff that we delivered alongside the videos. So as you can see from the six modules, each week we focused on a new topic, and alongside those topics, we sent out a 15-minute video, which one of the team was in charge of, and alongside that, a leadership journal that the students could complete. So these are screenshots from the journals. This first one, we got all of the answers here that the students had sent in about their leadership definition. We put that into a kind of visual for them to see what the most common interpretations were. So guiding and helping a team, as you can see, was the biggest one. And then if you squint, there are a few little other things thrown in there, like honesty and courage. I think it's just really awesome for the team to be able to see their different interpretations. And then module 4 was another awesome one. So we got to unpack stuff like mindfulness and all stuff that us 4 had learned about on our own leadership journeys, and we had the chance to then share to this younger cohort. So we touched on things like conflict management as well, which I've done a lot of work on. And then this module here is an acronym that Gabe actually came up with himself on how to give and receive feedback. And I just think that's so cool that, between us and our own networks, we could create this. And that is one of the biggest takeaways for us is how much we learned, I think, not even so much as the high school students themselves. But we wanted to go quickly into some of the reception, not to, just skite, but to show the things that did actually work. So these are 3 comments taken from students in that online form. And that you could see that they were very receptive of the online change, and that it is different, but that in this day and age, people are on board. And I think that's evident as well in how Rotary is getting so engaged so easily in weekly meetings on Zoom. I think it's awesome, and something that we never probably would have considered possible 2 months ago. So yeah, really easy and useful online. One more thing really is that whilst this does all look like quite complex with all of the graphs and rah-de-rahs, that initial phone call that we had to plan all of this and come up with this beautiful little thing right here took a grand total of 45 minutes. So, you know, it wasn't a huge thing that we had to go into with days of planning. It was really surprising how quickly we could take our knowledge and just create something new. And it's something that I don't think people should be afraid of. I don't know if people are or not, but it's manageable is what I'm trying to say. And then the reception that we had from the Rotary community as well was something that we didn't expect. And Ben and Co, sorry, but your words are in here. I hope that's all right. So the reason why I've chucked these in here is to show that, what we set out to create as a benefit for high school students actually turned into a benefit for people outside of that scope. So if I take this slide right here, the three things that we really want you guys to come away from this presentation with are the first, that communicating new things when you're going about a new process that hasn't been done before like this, it needs to be done in a very clear, crystal way, because people can get lost. And although we've gone into the positives in all of this feedback, we definitely did some things that could have been done better. But due to the nature of crisis management and what happens in the face of, you know, getting a curveball thrown in your way, sometimes you need to sacrifice perfect in the way of just doing something. And I don't think that should discourage anyone. So absolutely, there are some things that we could have done better in this. And the first was that we didn't communicate clearly enough to students how they needed to be sending in their work and whether they needed to be at all. And really, it was totally on them to do it. It was all about leadership, and whether they wanted to come along for the journey or not, it was totally their decision. But some teachers and some students didn't quite get that message, and so there was a little bit of confusion there. But again, it didn't overly drown out the final product. The second thing, and it's what I've said already, is that we didn't realize how many other stakeholders this would affect, and that has actually been more beneficial for us, I think, than even the benefits we've had for the high school students. So being able to show a model of some sort for you guys to then work off. We've had Skype meetings with Rylarian in Sydney, and meetings like this one a few times already to just talk through our process, so that planning for future youth programs like RYLA and RYPEN going into the next year, where physical contact will still be, and if they've taken what we've done and they've been able to take that as a learning platform, which is so awesome. And that we learned so much as well. Henry, Gabe, Claire and I have had an absolute ball creating this. Personally, I am actually taking inroads to working more in leadership development now, after realizing all of the things I have at my fingertips, and that Rotary is responsible for the grand proportion of that. And I'm very, very grateful for the programs that we have been able to partake in, because we have just learned a huge amount, as you can see from us being able to fill up 6 modules worth of content. And yeah, I think the third one is, don't let perfection get in the way of doing something, really. I'm conscious of time again, so I'm not sure if any of that made any sense, but if you have any questions, fire away, team. We are more than happy to fill in any gaps that we didn't get to cover, and thank you so much for coming with us on this quick little journey tonight. I hope that you are able to take something out of it.
Thank you, Grace. Could I ask if you could unshare your screen? So that, or I could do it, but there we go. That way I can see everybody. Has anyone got any questions for the team? If you sort of wave or you unmute yourself and ask, I'm sure. Ingrid.
Hi, Grace. That is just awesome. I think there are so many things that we can learn from that. And I'm kind of I've got a background in leadership development, and you've done a whole heap of things that would have probably taken me years to do. My question is, when you're thinking about next year, how do you think you'll integrate what you've learned in terms of the online stuff with also doing some face-to-face?
Yeah, absolutely. So that touches on one thing we forgot to mention, and that's that the students really wanted a physical component to this. And of course, we couldn't give it to them, really. We weighed up all our options, and the best thing to do was to say this is an incentive for you to come on RYPEN 2021. So if you engage with our content now, we will fully consider you and guarantee you a place even on RYPEN 2021. So it was kind of a milestone for them to work towards. It means that if we do get a grand proportion of these students on next year's program, they already have an incredible basis of foundation knowledge, which just skyrockets our opportunities and our options for what we can teach them next year. We plan, I think, very much to run the weekend program with this stuff in mind. So we kind of see it as having done a lot of pre-work, which means when it comes to next year, either we can take a step back and not put in so much time, or really build on it and make it an even better program, which is really exciting. The last thing I would say on that note is that our district RYLA for next year have taken this under their wing very much so. I've just gotten an unstable connection notification. Oh well. Good. So Todd from our district RYLA has explained that we can kind of use this module to expand RYLA next year. So make it, having online pre-work and then the week in person itself, and, have a whole lot taken out that's already been done online. And then also the post follow-up as well, really utilizing these online networks to make it not just a week or not just a weekend, but a huge long journey, which Ben would know, as RYLA Oceania has done exactly that in making it a year-long program by using online things already. And I do need to say to Ben that we took a lot of knowledge out of our RYLA Oceania journey and seeing how much could be done online through that. So good job, Ben.
And I think just to pick up on one of Grace's points there as well, is that this going through this exercise really helps us to understand what the students actually want to get out of these courses and what they want to understand. So it's not something we've talked about, but potentially this exercise has actually helped us maybe redefine where we need to put our efforts for that weekend as well, and sort of the program that we put in place. So it's certainly going to have an impact on what we do, and should actually make the program a lot more valuable as well.
Absolutely.
Can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
I hear that you had 20 out of, I believe, 60. Is there any way, is it confidentiality, but is there any way we can find out which clubs were participating, and if our club did participate? It would be very nice to know. From Waiheke,
Yeah, are you talking about the student participating?
Yes.
Yeah, we can tell which student have participated in the question, in the modules. On top of my head, no students from Waiheke have returned or entered any responses. Out of the 20, no Waiheke students.
We have also
you've already done that, Annie. We asked you, and we had 1 out of 6 from Howick.
Yeah, from Howick, 1 out of 6. Yeah.
We have also just re-emphasised to the students that this isn't something that they have to complete now.
No.
This content's going to be available for them for a period of time as well. So we don't want to add pressure on to them to complete this course over these specific 6 weeks when they may have other things going on that sort of, you know, restrict their time commitment to it. So that's something just to keep in mind, that, hey, maybe from your guys' ends, you can give them a bit of a prompt and encourage them that, hey, this might actually add value as well. So, yeah.
Henry brings up a really good point, something that really we originally factored in but didn't realise how much it would impact the students, was that high school students really are struggling with online learning at the moment. It's huge, and yeah, Mrs. Bodman, you can vouch for that. That's by no one's fault. That's just the circumstances we're given right now. So to then give these guys another online commitment on top of that is a lot, and so we have made it clear to them that this is an ongoing thing and they can do it when they're ready.
Can I ask then, Grace, is it possible, like at the time that our students registered for the RYPEN, we hadn't yet had our, well, I guess they registered at the end of last year, and we've got a new male who's joined our leadership team, and I thought about getting in touch to see if he could join this course online, but he actually was struggling, and I just thought, look, it would be a bit too much. But would he be able to, because he would love to participate, or, you know, he'd love to have access to the workshops, I think, once we're back at school?
100%. We want to be able to give this content to as many people as possible. So I think that, yeah, we can absolutely do that. I know that you just also asked for the contact details as well. So I'll quickly just put those back up on the screen if that's okay, guys, just so that Mrs. Bodman can link that up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go, Winnie, sorry.
So Mrs. Botman, do you want me to send you all the links to all the videos again? Or
yes, please, that would be great. And please, you can call me Holly. I had to. Our principal,
I didn't know your first name. Sorry, it doesn't come up.
Our principal asked us all to change our, you know, Zoom profiles to our married names, or, you know, formal. Anyhow. But yeah, it's Holly.
Okay, I'll do that for you.
Grace, I'd be interested in what does it look forward to as far as the network of students you've got involved now? What do they have done this program as a network? Do you think they'll stay in contact and move forward with this program?
So the cohort that are engaging currently, yeah, I wish that we could just take these 20 students that have engaged and just skyrocket them through the year and engage with them ongoingly all the time. Two things have kind of come in the way of that. The first thing, which I think, Aina, you could probably explain better, is there's a privacy element to all of this, and we didn't want to overstep the mark and over-promising, because we do have our own commitments, and this has become quite a big project we didn't expect to do this year. So if we could have, you know, weekly Zoom meetings with these guys and really get into the depths and big concepts of leadership, oh God, I would want nothing more. But at the same time, there is the permissions that we need to get from schools and all sorts of things to make that happen, and two, yeah, time. As well as linking the students up between themselves as well. We haven't been able to do that, again, for privacy reasons. But we're really banking on their involvement in RYPEN 2021 to be able to do that. And if they're all, you know, uniting there with this thing in common, that they've all done this online content a year previous, then that will hopefully facilitate some really cool relationships, in a year's time from now. Yeah.
And I think that will also cement their learning as well, because they'll be in a peer environment where they already know some of this content and they're able to actually teach it to their peers, which is going to add even more value for both them but also the other participants, because they're hearing these things from their peers. And I think that adds so much more value than, you know, no disrespect to anyone or anything, but I think when you hear something from your peers, you generally take it with a lot more emphasis than when you hear it from someone, you know, say your parent or your teacher, or you know, and I think that's really where we can add a bit of value there as well.
Can I just make a comment here, please, Robin? One of the things that is particularly about this exercise, which is really successful, is the fact that we've gone to a whole new medium. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Peter Ross, and I'm with the RYLA program predominantly. But what this is going to do for RYLA is it means that we can now beam speakers in from anywhere around the world for a session on RYLA, where previously we had to have them here physically, and that's going to make a huge difference in the quality and what we can get. So what's actually happened through this medium that the team have tested and done so well with is it's opened up a whole lot of new avenues for us in RYLA. And I really want to just say great congratulations to that whole team, because I think you did a great job, all well led by Aini, and I think everybody should give them a big round of applause, because I'm just so impressed with all the stuff that came through. So well done, team. And I'll just leave it there. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Peter.
Did anyone else?
As a convener of Moona, I'm very envious, and I think Aini and the team have done a tremendous job. I had to disappoint 360 year 13 students who live between Kaitaia and Pukekohe, so I think it was a fabulous job. The advantage I see, though, in what you've put together is that through Gary, you may be able to make this program available to a lot of other districts, because I'm sure that these programs are all our programs, be it Moona, RYPEN, RYLA, being impacted right around the globe. So through Gary, I'm sure that there may be a lot of avenues open, and you'll be the model, if you like. You could well be the model for Rotary, certainly South Pacific, but perhaps globally. So I think well done, and I think it's something that we should try and push from this end in some shape or form. I'll leave it to you, Gary.
Very well spoken, Ian. The sentiments that I share. Just this evening, I was on a Zoom call with the district governors of the other 5 Rotary districts in New Zealand, and I was singing the praises of the RYPEN program. And I guess while you were talking, I was just reflecting on the fact that while you had 20 on the first course, you could have had 200 or even 2,000. It's such a scalable enterprise that you've got there, and in reality, you've done the core work, and you could easily have other parts of the Rotary network in the world actually wanting to tune in and shall we say take the benefit of the hard work that you guys have done. So I think it's amazing. But yeah. Good thoughts, Ian. Thank you, and I have already started that journey. Yeah.
Don't forget to clip the ticket.
Yes. Oh well, I think the guys will probably want a bit of commission on the way through. Who knows? But anyhow, yeah, that's not for me to take the meeting up. Robin, sorry.
Have you finished now, Gary?
Just a quick comment from me on this. I was invited to basically the funeral of RYPEN 3-4 years ago. Nobody wanted a bar of it. And I mentioned this to Aini, and she said, no way, we're not going to do that. Aini has brought this program through with surviving a flood and now a damn virus. And let's not forget that as well.
Yeah, the bloody flood, eh? I remember that.
Shining.
Yeah. Okay, so the teams have done really, really well. I must say, okay, it's such a pleasure working with the 4 of them. I've never learned so much on Google Doc. It's my best friend at the moment now. And ECHO is the buzzword, isn't it? ECHO is one of the acronym. I thought that it came from somewhere else. So, and Gabriel said, no, I made it up. And I thought, oh, that was very clever. So well done, team. Yeah, no, really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment here. First, Aini, moving on to putting the RYPEN program out through this type of media is absolutely brilliant. And I think it's a signal that we should, in Rotary, look for all innovations to keep us up to date and keep us excited about what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed, yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Did anyone else have any question or anything that they wanted to add?
Yeah, hi, it's George Wilson here. I just wanted to make one comment on what was discussed earlier about the ratio of 20 participants versus the 60, and whether or not clubs or the champion at the club, each club for RYPEN, would there be any merit in if we knew who actually attended or didn't attend from a school, if we personally went and saw the headmaster or the principal or whatever, and with their permission, perhaps had a talk with the young people, because it's not too late for them to participate. And there may have been a nervousness in some cases. I don't know any from out south joined in, but you know, they're at all different levels. And the Rotarian champion at each school, at each club rather, for the school, could actually do some work to join them up. I don't know. So I'll open that up for discussion.
I think you're going
I think that's a very good idea, and I had intended following through with our single participant and also the college staff that are involved in the selection, so that we can actually see what that individual got out of it, and also to examine why the other 5 didn't join in. Perhaps it was, you know, uncertainty. I'm not sure, but certainly this type of program, you could almost see integrating with technology courses on involving leadership within schools.
I think a lot of Rotarians could learn a lot from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you've got to take note of what Holly said earlier, though, and COVID-19 put a lot of pressure on these students.
Absolutely.
And I think we have to be careful, even just recently in the last day or so, they've extended out NCEA exams and timetables, etc. That puts more and more pressure on the students that we're targeting. I agree with what you've said, Rob, in the longer term, but I don't think the timing is right now to go and tap on people's shoulders and say, you know, would you like or why didn't you? I think that's something we should keep up in our sleeves for future activity along the journey once things settle down a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that, and we wouldn't do it straight off the bat. We'd be working through the staff, and the staff are very sensitive to the needs of the students anyway. So
I'd also be a bit hesitant to single someone out. I think certainly a more generic approach to it, and just emphasising that this isn't something that we have to complete right now. We do have time, and I guess from our perspective as well, you know, if they have a few opportunities to do this and they're still sort of not engaging with it, versus say someone that is engaging with it, then it strengthens the case for that person that is engaged with it for going on the camp next year as well. And that's sort of something that, you know, would be taken into account, I guess, and should be considered. Not that we want to rule people out just because they haven't done this, but certainly if they're engaged with this course, it's going to strengthen their case for going to camp.
Yeah. So Grace and Henry, how's it affected your own personal development? Obviously, you've put in a huge amount of effort along with your other peers. And Grace, sorry, I saw the name of the business you work for, and I'm in disability as well, so I understand where you're at. So you've done some fantastic work there. I'd be interested in your own personal development over this journey.
Henry, do you want to go?
Yeah. So I think, I don't know, I guess the really cool thing for me, and Grace touched on it earlier, is just understanding how much we actually know and how much we can learn off each other. You know, as I only said, Gabe came up with this acronym ECHO, and it's like, wow, that's really a clear, easy way to understand the message he's trying to get across, and sort of something that you can remember and sort of keep in the back of your mind going forward. So we've actually taken a lot out of it as well. We've learned a lot of things and been able to cement our learnings from RYLA Oceania, as well as our RYLA, district RYLAs, and that's pretty invaluable. And I mean, it's pretty amazing. I don't know, yeah.
It's huge. It really is. I have a Zoom meeting at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning with a Rotary Club in Denmark. It was the Rotary Club that sponsored me to go on exchange in 2016. And I was talking to one of the members for my birthday, and they said, "Do you want to speak?" And I realized upon that request that in the past 4 years, I have been on this ridiculous journey with Rotary that has taken me to places I never would have comprehended at a RYPEN participant's age. And I cannot communicate my gratitude and just awe at the things that can be achieved if this Rotary force is tapped into. And I could sit here for hours explaining all of the things I've gotten out of this, Ellen. I'm not going to do that. But on a personal level, there is a reason why us young leaders, people who have come off RYPEN, off RYLA, come back and contribute our time to programs like this, because we get so much out of it that my job and my studies can take a back seat sometimes, because it really is worth it. It really is, yeah.
I think we also got an appreciation for how much time and effort goes into creating a 15-minute video as well.
No comment. No comment.
Just one comment I would make.
Just a 2-minute video.
Just one comment I would make is that these people were all part of the RYLA team. If we'd run RYLA this year, they would have been team leaders on RYLA, and they would have been leading RYLA with all this knowledge that they've gained now, and more so. So I can tell you now that the future of RYLA and RYPEN is in particularly good hands, the way we've got it structured now. So well done, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any other comments or questions coming from whoever's left? we had, I'm really happy to tell you that we had about 42 of us at one stage, counting a couple of the double ups. And it's just dropped off as people have had to go off to other things. So
thank you, Robin.
Thank you. Thank you very much, RYPEN team and INE, for making yourself available for our club meeting. We're delighted that we could host you and provide this forum so that more people could find out what what you've achieved. It's amazing to hear it, and I have been recording this, so I hope everyone's feeling that they're looking fine. So and I'll make that recording available to whoever would like it, if that's okay, after the meeting, or perhaps I should put it in Irene's hands and she could sell it off for the highest bidder. So could we all just put our hands together gently and show our appreciation for such a great presentation and speakers tonight. Thank you very much. Now please all feel free to go and finish your dessert, have a cup of tea, coffee, wine. You can go and relax now. I'll hold on for sit here for a few, for 10 or more minutes if anyone wanted to continue to chat.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Robin.
Thanks very much, all of you. Yeah. And Grace, we're going to see you either physically soon or we're going to get you on Zoom.
I look forward to it, Rob.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Thanks so much for coming, guys, as well. Yeah.
I have enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, thank you. Mind-blowing work.
Great advocate for Rotary Youth Exchange, Grace.
I'm a promo girl, Robin. It's disgusting.
Yeah. I'm loving it.
Hey, Robin, I've got a job for her. Leave her alone.
She's generated so many ideas. We need to take this thinking into our wider Rotarian leadership development.
Absolutely, both of them have been outstanding tonight, and the other it's a shame they had to leave, but you've done a fantastic job and should be proud of what you've achieved. Well done.
Absolutely. Well done, team.
We had fun doing it.